this video because I just got this Moen GEC 8 effects looper. Reason I got it because I was tired of doing the pedal dance. And those of you who've done the pedal dance, so you know what I'm talking about. When you've had to, you like the sound of two pedals at once, but what happens is you end up having to press a whole bunch of pedals and unpress them, which may be fine if you're like a lead guitarist and you're just doing your thing back there, but once you start singing up front, the pedal dance it gets to the point where you're just not trying to do that anymore. So I went ahead and did some research. I went to the Guitar Center, and when I asked them about this type of an effects pedal, they kind of had a puzzled look on their face. If it's not in their store, they don't know what's going on. And they didn't really have any equivalent. Like, even if they had some expensive equivalent of this pedal, then that might have been one thing, but they just didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, look, I'm looking for something whereas I can engage multiple pedals at once and disengage them. And they were like, whoa, we'll sell you a multi-effects looper. I was like, that's not what I'm talking about. I already have the pedals. I just want to, well, whatever. You guys who are watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. In any case, so this Moen, so far, it is a pretty simple design. I think when I was researching it, that was what was appealing. I got it on reverb.com. It was brand new. It's like $110 or something with the shipping. And what I liked about it was that it's simple function. There's not a ton of like information in terms of how to use it, and there's no reviews on this particular product. So that's why I'm doing this one myself. So anyway, eventually when you get enough pedals as I've got going on, so about 9 with the volume and the tuner. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on here. Okay, so this Moen right here, it accepts them individually, so you'll need 2 chords per pedal. But there's an in and out, send and return. And then there are several bays here. So let's say this bay. And I've actually got 7 loops plugged in. And then I've got 1 that goes out to actually another amp. So I'm actually running a Quilter amp to a ZT cabinet. Yes, it can be done. I can be done. I called the people at ZT and they told me that yeah, it can be done. I mean, they write the ratings for their ZT products, but as long as it doesn't blow the rating of the little amp. And the Pro Box 200 amps, 100 per channel. And this amp is like 100 watts right there, so that should be fine. I've actually got it turned down really low because it's late night. I'm also running one through another ZT amp, just the amp itself, because I love ZT amps. I love solid state amplifiers. We can get into that another time, but that's just my preference. Okay, so the Moen, what I do like about this is actually a very simple function. So in each bay, we have one at each of our effects. The 1 is the compressor, 2 is overdrive, 3 is that big muff, 4 is the tremolo, 5 is the TC electronics. Oh no, actually, I lie. 5 is actually that DJ shadow, the echo pedal, the Dr. J shadow. And then 6 is that TC electronic flashback times 4. I may downsize that just because I love this pedal, but it's so big that you could probably fit more stuff, or just, because I mean, as it is now, everything fits, but I have more pedals, but this is just what I went with. The Big Muff, that's another pedal that I might downgrade or get something else. And then in this bay, number 7, that goes to that Hall of Fame, the TC Electronic. And then the tuner actually goes through this volume pedal. So what happens is, it's actually super simple. So right now what's happening is this light is on, this A bank is on, and what it's telling me is I actually opened up 8, which is the other amp. So if I wanted to take that amp off, you check this light, that means it's engaged. If I press this button here, it's disengaged. So now I'm actually back to this amp right here. I'm just working that out, how that would be useful. I kind of want to see if I could put both amps on at the same time, but I think I need something else to do that. So that's not what it is. Anyway, and so 1 is a compressor, 2 is that overdrive, and then I'm running it through Dan Electro guitar. And you can hear that's just a clean sound. Now, if I wanted to engage like multiple effects, let's say, let's actually just simulate a real life situation. Something that I actually would do at a show is in one of our songs, I actually, and I think this is very common, right, is you want an overdrive with a delay just to kind of fatten, give that wide sound to your overdrive or your solos. So what I might do is say, okay, I particularly like the distortion sound of these two together. And so this is in 2 and 3. So I go ahead and press 2. 2 lights up, and then I go press 3. 3 lights up, and you can kind of hear that channel coming in. And then what I actually like to do is I just make sure that I'm not lying. I'll disengage them. And then I'm going to put 6, which is my the TC Electronic, and see how it sounds. So yeah, that is 6 is the TC Electronic. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and put in the overdrive, which I've put to channel 2. And then the Big Mouth, which is put to channel 3. So that'll have them all engaged at the same time. And then if you don't like it, or if you don't like it, if you change it back to the channel, it goes back to clean. Okay, something happened. Some of the pedals, things have gotten loose. Okay, so that is a clean. That is all 3 engaged. You can see all the getting feedback and back down. So that's a simple rundown of the pedal. I just got it in the mail today, so I just put this all together right now. From what I can tell, I gotta run it through a few rehearsals to see if it works in a practical setting. But from just messing around with it at the house, it seems like it is working. I mean, I don't feel like I'm getting any extra sound through the pedal, which is something I do like. I just, you have to test it, see if there's you get any losses of sound or anything happens as you actually put it through its real paces. So I mean, as it functions now, I like it. It's simple, which is why I wanted it. There are ones that are more expensive that have a little bit more going on. They have buffered outs. Some have send and returns, and that is something that you do lose with this. That I'm trying to figure out. Maybe someone knows, just in terms of having a send and return for the time-based stuff, for all the delays and the reverb. it's really nice to have that in the tremolo to come through the send and return of the amp. But if you have stereo pedals, you can do it but you can't, because the pedals, as you can see, they're always engaged. In order for this thing to function, they have to be kind of ready to go. So, I'm working that one out. Yeah, because if you put them through the send and return and they're all engaged, you're going to be on all the time. Maybe if you're switching amps, you can have maybe one channel have the send and returns, and then one channel have the clean. But I don't know. I like to combine the distortion together, so we'll figure that out. But as it is, I mean, if you just ran it like this, it's actually, definitely end the pedal dance. And then also you can kind of experiment and find sounds that you wouldn't go for. You wouldn't even bother trying, because you can't put 4 pedals on and then turn them off. So that's kind of another thing, is you can kind of sit there and geek out on your pedals and do things that you wouldn't usually do, because you just would like think to yourself, well, how am I going to engage 4 pedals at once and then disengage them while I'm still trying to get through a song? So you can kind of like create escapes that you may have not been able to even think about before, or even set your mind to, because of the new possibilities. So with this, you see there's A through E, 5 different little channels that you can dial in the combinations of sounds. You can also switch the bank, and so now you see you're on the green bank, and then you can, from there you can go ahead and dial in some new sounds into the green bank, and then back to the red. So for right now, I'm just testing it, so you can see that, that engaged 4, that engaged 3 of them, that engaged some other ones, and then back to the thing. So you can totally bypass it by just pressing the button that you'd originally pressed right back again. At first I was like wondering how to set the bass and everything, but it's actually super simple. And again, I'll just go over it again. So you just press the bay that you want, and then just start pressing these, and then you watch the corresponding light turn up, and you see the light turns up, it goes off, lights turns down, see light goes on, light goes down, and that's how. And then it'll remember whatever you press. So let's just say I pressed 4, or let's say 5, or say 5, 4, 3. Okay, and then that's what I pressed on that one. Go back, and we'll go back to D and see if 5, 4, and 3 are repressed right there. Got weird things going on because this has got a weird little effect on it. But there, as you can see, it's super simple to thing. Another thing that I love is that these pedals are soft push. So that's my preference, is that they're just soft to the touch. So you could be barefoot with these. You can see that hard click. This pedal is a hard click. This pedal is a hard click. Whereas I love the tones of those pedals. I'm not a big fan of having to hard click. The TC electronic ones are a little bit higher end in terms of it's very soft. But what I like about this one controller, because it's soft, it kind of allows you to use some of those pedals that you might not have used before, because of, it can be a little pain in the ass to click those. I mean, it depends on who, it's not that big a deal, but it's nice. I prefer things like the Boss's ones. They're just soft to me, and the TC Electronics. So it's kind of like, it's cool, because if there are pedals that you like the sound of, but you might not like the function, or you might not like the housing. The housing's cheap, so you don't want to step on it, but the actual circuit is kind of cool and you like the sound. Running it through something like this allows you to kind of get away from having to stomp on that thing, as many times. So that might, save the life of the pedal in terms of the housing or scuffing or whatever like that. Then you do have to have the pedals on all the time, so I don't know how that wears on the pedals. I wouldn't imagine it's too much, because it's just for the duration of practice or a gig or experimentation. So that would be one thing to keep in mind. But overall, I think this is a great upgrade, I would say, to the sound. It's really helpful and gives you kind of more possibilities. And you can dial in just really different things. So this is cool. It just came out. I haven't seen any reviews on it, so I'm really glad that I got it in, and it seems to be working. If there's anything that goes awry with it or there's problems, I'll definitely update, give an update, and let you know what's going down. All right, yeah, holler at me, dearly departed Seattle. We're just sitting here writing songs, playing music, and trying to make gear to improve the sound. All right, take it easy, guys.